Mike Tyson is still seen as one of the baddest men on the planet, even at 55 years old. And throughout his storied career, he has put the fear of God up opponents, the public and romantic interests alike. Nowadays, he seems more chilled out thanks to his involvement in his cannabis company, but that animal is still inside him. Today, we are discussing all the times Mike Tyson has made people tremble in fear. Stay tuned. And what better place to start than that rape conviction? On February 10, 1992, Iron Mike Tyson, former world heavyweight champion, was convicted of raping beauty pageant contestant Desiree Washington. He was handed a 10-year prison sentence, with 4 years suspended, and was believed to have put Ms. Washington through a harrowing ordeal. Allegedly, the pair had met the previous summer at a rehearsal for a Miss Black America pageant in Indianapolis, when Tyson invited the starlet back to his hotel room. It was July 19, and following the events that took place in Tyson's hotel room, Washington went to the police, claiming she had been raped. Tyson, however, argued that the sex had been consensual, but in an era when juries were quick to condemn black men, he was sent down. Of course, this didn't mean he didn't do it. It could have been the case that Washington was so scared of Tyson and his baddest man on the planet moniker that she didn't stop him even though she didn't want to engage in sexual intercourse. But having not been there, no one can truly know what happened. However, the court noticed how much fear was still present in Washington and sent him directly to jail. What did you guys think when Tyson was sent to jail? Let us know below. Next up, that infamous tirade on a news reporter. Shortly after he was released from jail, Tyson was involved in a quite unbelievable moment in a pre-fight press conference. He was briefly going by the name Malik Abdul Aziz after becoming a Muslim in jail, but he soon forgot his newfound inner calm when a reporter, rather bravely, or as many people have suggested, stupidly, suggested he might be better suited to life in a straitjacket. Tyson's response still beggars belief to this day. In an expletive-laden reply, he told the reporter he would put his mother in a straitjacket.
Put your mother in a straitjacket, you punk-ass white boy. Come here and tell me that if I fuck you in your ass, you punk white boy.
Before calling him a, quote, punk-ass white boy, unquote. He then challenged the reporter to come and say what he had said to his face, before calling him a pretty vile homophobic slur. Tyson, who reminded everyone why jail was probably the best place for him in the worst possible manner, then told the reporter he would make love to him, but absolutely not in those words. Just when the crowd thought it was over, Tyson continued by claiming the reporter was scared, which anybody would have been, before saying, quote, "You can't last 2 minutes in my world."
You can't last 2 minutes in my world, bitch.
In a quite astute observation, Iron Mike again suggested the reporter was scared of the real man, before again telling him he would make love to him until he loves him. Again, absolutely not in those words. Truly terrifying. And by all accounts, the reporter was trembling in fear by the end. What did you guys make of the horrific outburst? We're discussing his comments on Lennox Lewis. Next, stick around. Whilst the word fear probably isn't the right one to describe how Lewis might have felt after Tyson's comments, we would probably bet he was at least uncomfortable. Prior to the pair clashing for Lewis's WBC, IBF, IBO, and the Ring heavyweight titles, Tyson went on another insane rant. The pre-fight press conference descended into chaos, so much so that Tyson's comments inspired the Nevada Boxing Board to cancel the fight, meaning that it was moved to Tennessee. The pair were at the New York leg of their press conference when Tyson said,
I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lennox is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
We're sure Allah would have been delighted with those words. Whilst Lewis seemed indifferent to the comments, mainly people in the vicinity looked on with terror. What did you guys make of Tyson's comments on Lewis? Let us know below. Next up, we're discussing basically everyone on the planet. Mike Tyson has at one point or another put the fear of God into most people on the planet. His earlier quotes bordered on terrifying, and back in 1988, he was quoted as saying, quote, "I just have this thing inside me that wants to eat and conquer. Maybe it's egotism, egotistical, but I have it in me. I don't want to be a tycoon. I just want to conquer people and their souls," unquote. This was enough to make people watching the interview tremble with fear. He is also on the record as telling another reporter that he just loves to hit people, which is enough to scare any man. And in another pretty dark admission, he admitted to a strange practice where he likes to dress up in a ski mask and dress in old clothes, go out on the streets and beg for quarters. Pretty wild. Tyson has also suggested we, as a society, love to live through him vicariously, saying, quote, "When you see me smash somebody's skull, you enjoy it," unquote. One time, the former heavyweight world champ claimed that he thinks he will take a bath in his blood when talking about one upcoming opponent. We're discussing his last ever opponent now, Kevin McBride and manager Rich Cappiello. McBride, a journeyman fighter with a record of 35-10-1, was Tyson's final ever opponent, and in the build-up to the fight, Mike was back to his old tricks. Responding to McBride's manager, Rich Cappiello, who had questioned when Tyson was coming back, Mike responded by telling Cappiello that he was going to, quote, "get Kevin killed," unquote. Tyson went on to explain to Cappiello that, quote, "You better stop. You better go sit down. I'm going to gut him like a fish. I'm going to cut his heart out," unquote. Tyson then focused more on Cappiello, who by this point looked pretty worried, saying that he wished that he could fight him. He said, "The one who is not throwing punches always talks the most garbage. I wish he would fight me, that slick-talking cat." Unfortunately for Tyson, McBride went on to win the fight after the referee stopped it at the end of the 6th, and as such, added a full stop to the career of Iron Mike. Do you remember this confrontation? Next up, a pretty insane incident from just this week. Iron Mike made one airplane passenger tremble with fear this week as he was attacked by the former world heavyweight in first class. In a video posted online, the young man can be seen harassing Tyson for a selfie, whilst also jabbering incoherently, but definitely annoyingly, right behind Mike's head. The youngest heavyweight champ in the history of the sport then warned the man to chill, but of course he didn't take the warning seriously. The video then cuts to after the attack, and the man is seen with a bloodied face. Apparently, Mike left the plane shortly after unleashing a barrage of uppercuts on the guy, who soon went to the police. I mean, if you don't want to get punched in the face, don't try to wind up the former heavyweight champion of the world, who has a famously short fuse. After the attack, the man reportedly received medical attention, but unfortunately, nobody from the airline, Tyson's camp, or police force has yet to make a statement. We would suggest the idiot probably got what he deserved. What about you guys? And finally, Tyson has floated a pretty crazy theory. Earlier this week, Iron Mike appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and shortly after, Joe returned the favor by appearing on Mike's Hot Boxin' Pod. The pair were pretty baked by the time they got round to Tyson's theory, in which he suggested that rich people were actually abducting homeless people and chasing them on large private estates, unbeknownst to the uninitiated 99%. His theory follows the plot of movie The Hunt pretty closely, in which people are abducted, then hunted for sport. Tyson and Rogan lit up a couple of joints, probably from Tyson's own weed company, when Mike told the world's most popular podcast host that, quote, "Whatever you think a human did to another human being, it happened. Whatever it is, it happened," unquote. Rogan then asked him if he was talking historically, to which Tyson continued, "Yeah, and sometimes these special camps and stuff happen. These people own these thousands of acres and nothing grows on them." Rogan then appeared to enable Tyson and his wild theories by agreeing that it wasn't, quote, "beyond the realms of possibility," unquote. Do you guys think there's any truth in Mike's theory? Let us know your thoughts below. As always, thanks for stopping by today, and remember to join us next time for some more fun and games. Also, why not share today's video with any boxing fan friends you might have lurking on your social? See you in the next one.